I hope you can be able to see me well. So you can share good morning on the chat so that we can start. You can share good morning on the chat so that we can be able to start. Good morning this Friday. Karibuni sana. Karibuni sana sana. You can tell a friend that we are on so that they can just come in. Today we are talking about tax trends, so it is very, very short. We'll take an hour to just share the tax trends that are there and possibly things that you should be able to understand. I hope you can hear me well. Am I audible? Kindly talk to me. Thank you so much. Thank you. You can see so many good mornings. Thank you. So if this is your first time, you can share a yes, just a yes. I'm just asking that one question. If this is your first time, you can just share a yes on the chat. If this is your first time to join us, just share a yes. So I'm seeing yeses. Susan, Pamela. I want to really welcome you, Omar. I want to welcome you for this webinars. We always have a webinar, 3 webinars in a month, and these webinars are free of charge. So the first webinar is today for this month, where I talk about tax trends and KRA recent trends, whatever is happening, I talk about that. Then next Friday, we'll be having a training. I'll be talking about eTIMS, the new reality. I'm going to show you the poster. You can come and we discuss more about eTIMS. Then we also have a sector tax training that will be happening the other Friday. I'll share the posters with you, and that one will be talking about taxation in real estate. So we always have these webinars. They are free of charge. Come learn. We believe when you learn, you make better decisions, especially when it comes to your business and to the taxes that are there. So karibuni sana sana sana. Allow me to go to the webinar for the day. And if you have a question, keep asking on the chat. Just keep asking on the chat. Someone is there to answer you. Then I'll also come and answer your questions, as many as I can. So karibuni, tell a friend. It is just free of charge. They come and learn. When we learn, we make better decisions, especially for our business. And we avoid so many things. I believe that taxation, most of the mistakes that we make in tax, they are mistakes that could have been avoided if only someone understood taxes. So, karibuni sana. So, tell me, what is trending? What have you seen trending? So I'll talk about that. I'll talk about even the proposals. We might be having the Finance Act, finance bills. I'll talk about even the trends that are there. So this is my content for the day. And if you can see you can tell me if you can be able to see, if you can be able to see my notes properly. Just share yes. Thank you. On NSSF rates, yes, I'll talk about that. PAYE, yes, that is a proposal. Yes, looming PAYE rates, I'll talk about that. NSSF, I'll also talk about that. PAYE is a relief. I just hope it goes through. Taxation on, let me read one, that taxation on bank deposits. I'll talk about that, especially for us who just deposit money in the account. KRA mostly terms like money, every coin that comes to the business account that is supposed to be an income. So this is always an ongoing process, especially when you are doing audit. And KRA asks for those bank statements. Bank statement is something that you should be extremely careful what you're doing about. Trending validation, yes, I also talk about validation, and that is also something that is there, and it is. So let's go to it. I've stated if you have a question, you can ask the question on the chat. So this is the content. I'll talk about eTIMS validation exercise. The fringe benefits, central bank always releases new rates. I'll talk about that. NSSF changes, the reintroduction of nil filing. Remember, nil filing, I guess they just withheld it for days. I don't think even a month is over. They've been reintroduction of the nil filing is back. I mentioned about it. Other trends, pay proposals and case studies. By the way, there are so many cases that are always there, and we'll talk about, keep coming, we'll talk about tax dispute resolution mechanism and the whole structure, how it looks like. And I'm going to discuss some few cases. Sometimes when you're going through audit, you think or you would want to go through the legal process where you'd go objection, tribunal, ADR. Are there wins in those areas? I'll talk about recent cases and we'll see, we analyze those changes. So this is the circular, the public notice that we received 7th November that got us scared that KRA is now validating our income and expenses in the income tax return. And this is something that was supposed to happen in 2023. And there was a lot of delays and the Finance Act being rejected. But now we are here. And KRA is taking time to validate the income tax for year 2025. When we are filing this year 2026, remember, if it is January to December, you're supposed to file for this period from January to June. That is the filing period. So this is the point where we are doing the audit, and those audits are not going through because they want all our expenses to be validated. Your screen is not showing. Okay. You may. Okay. A moment, let me. Now it's back. Okay. Just So this is what is costing us a lot of issues. So what is the validation process? And we talked about this about 2 weeks ago when we talked about the validation exercise and the whole process. We have the eTIMS invoices. Already, we've been using eTIMS on our sales. So most probable our sales are okay. And we've been doing VAT auto population. I hope we are there, where when you go to file your VAT, it auto populates the data for your sales, sorry, and for your purchases. And also remember, for your purchases, you also put the expenses. That is where, you know, some people ask, where are we putting the expenses in the first place? Because for me, I know VAT is sales versus purchases. No. Under purchases, it also accommodates for expenses. Anything that you buy, you should buy it with eTIMS. This is fuel, rent, repair and maintenance, anything that should be accommodated on eTIMS. Remember, there are others that are exempted from eTIMS, like personal emoluments, that is salaries and wages. And we also mentioned that these salaries and wages should be accommodated in the pay-as-you-earn records, so that the validation process is able to pick all this data and put it together. So at the moment you file and say, I'm having my income is 50 million for year 2025, the system is able to look and say, what did you file in January, February, 12 months? Yes, exactly, it's 50 million. And then he says, that's okay. Let's now come to the purchases. You declared purchases is 40 million. It looks to the VAT and anything else data. Then he says, no. Then it comes to the expenses, and the expenses is where now we have an issue. Remember, I've always mentioned here that when you're doing audit like us as an auditor, the very first thing that I do is I do a VAT analysis. I check your incomes on the VAT return, your sales and your purchases. And your sales and your purchases, they form data for the income tax return. So I cannot put, if your VAT gives me 50 million, I cannot put 65. I have to put that data that is already on VAT. So the VAT has this data. If your VAT registered, or even if your eTIMS, the eTIMS data will give you how much sales you did in a full year. How many, then the purchase, also the purchases. So the biggest issue of this validation is on our expenses. We have marketing cost, field expenses, fuel, all the other expenses. They are not accommodate. Most of us were not keen. Lunch, supermarket items where you're cooking, mama mboga, you bought meat and flour and what? All this information is not on eTIMS data, and KRA is rejecting those filings. So we got an enhancement where they stated that they are going to give us a sheet. And they're also stating that they are also going to be very keen on how we do that presentation. So they have stated that they are going to give us a sheet where we can put these expenses, and of course with supporting documents. So it's not just having an expense, like you're having a marketing cost. You know, previously, some people just even have expenses without any source document. Weka hiyo 500, and especially this exercise will largely affect micro businesses and small businesses where bookkeeping is a problem. If KRA will give us the leeway to have our expenses and supporting document in the system, if you don't have those supporting documents, they'll still reject that income tax return. So the person who doesn't have bookkeeping properly, that will be one of the biggest issue that will come in. So the moment you say, I pay rent 30,000, but you don't have anything to show, or I fuel my car 10,000 a week, you don't have anything to show. But you know, entrepreneurs, we know how much we spend, but we don't have source document. We don't stand and request that source document. That is the biggest issue. So there are going to be a verification of declared income. I'm believing that we don't have issues on incomes because our sales has been on eTIMS. The other, and does this exercise mean that there will be no compliance checks in future? No, it means that the sales that we have declared is on eTIMS, the purchases and expenses is on eTIMS. Later, the compliance team will come and check your bank statement. It's actually making compliance checks very simpler, because at that point, the only thing they can check is your bank statement. Because the eTIMS verification has done verification on purchases, it has done verification on expenses. You cannot introduce other purchases and expenses that are not on eTIMS. So later on, they can verify your bank statement, verify your M-Pesa statement to just understand if they were under declarations of income. So they are going to verify incomes, verify the claimed expenses, and invoice transmission requirement. It is not enough that you have an invoice. An invoice must successfully transmit to KRA via eTIMS during validation. So you cannot say it does not validate. If you're having issues even today, there are people who have even issues when you're auto-populating data. You find that there are purchases that did not auto-populate. Those issues, we used to have them when auto-population became mandatory. But they came being phased out, that you talk to your supplier to make sure that your PIN is captured correctly. There are some suppliers who give you an eTIMS invoice, but they don't submit it, they don't complete the entire process, so it reflects on your site. And they will cite, oh, the internet had a problem and so many other things. But at the moment, we have come out of those many major issues. So you go back to your supplier, tell them I need this invoice. And right now, there are companies that cannot pay you until they do the verification of that eTIMS invoice. How do they do it? They do through invoice checker. They can scan it and they look at those checks. The moment it reflects on their side, and they pay you. That is the most ideal space. And when it comes to eTIMS, how eTIMS operates, when you also make a purchase, because of the stock movement issue, you're supposed to reflect that purchase on your side, on your eTIMS side. You can actually accept that purchase, and then that purchase is transmitted to your stocks. When you'll be talking about how eTIMS work, come next week on Friday, we'll talk about that, how eTIMS work, the stock management system, how purchases are working, and how it is so configured so nicely, like a point of sale. I'll talk about that. What does KRA eTIMS validation exercise identify compliance gaps? Of course, they want to see if we are doing under declarations, if we are having overstated or unsupported expenses, and that is the place where we are having major issues of unsupported expenses. So how does these unsupported expenses come in? Number one, you incurred that expense, but you don't have a supporting document. That is very wrong. Number two, because of your profits, so you may do an income statement and you find that your profit, for instance, in a year was 1 million. And 1 million, 30% is 300,000, and you don't have that money. So what do? You introduce expenses, or work a marketing costs, work a field expense, ni rent toa 500 weka 700 so that you lower that amount. So that is now the catch, that you're having unsupported expenses that they are not even on eTIMS. So that is the main challenge. VAT claimed without valid eTIMS invoices. I'm hoping we are out of there. And mismatching of eTIMS and filed return data. Consequences: issue additional assessment. KRA is going to issue additional assessment, disallow expenses and VAT claims. So if you made a claim for VAT on an expense, they're going to disallow some of this. Disallow, and the moment they disallow, for instance, you're having expenses, the whole year expenses worth 30 million. They say, okay, we have agreed, we have assessed the source document that you have shared here. Then we have agreed to 20 million. 20 million, the document shared is okay. The 10 million, disallowing means that they are going to charge that 10 million 30%. Is like they are minusing that amount. If your profit was 1 million, is like 10 million expense, bring it back so that now your profit becomes 11 million. So sometimes it is very costly for that. And then on that additional assessment, they also impose penalties and interest. Before I go to the next point, what do you think about the validation of expenses, this exercise? What do you think? Also, the part that there is an enhancement that they're going to give that sheet. What do you think? What do you think at the end of to the next one? Okay, I want to hear comments. Are ETLs compliant? No, they are not. ETL, we stopped using them, guess what, 3 or 4 years ago. We only have TIMS and eTIMS. TIMS and eTIMS. The difference is TIMS operates like the way ETR was operating, but gives KRA real-time data. eTIMS you have to state what somebody buys. For eTIMS, it's just the normal way ETR was operating. 50,000, you go to the machine, 50,000, 16%, you get a receipt. But for eTIMS, you have to describe what I bought. That's what we talk about, the stock management system on eTIMS. So that is a difference. And so, okay, I find it very tough. KRA will be harsh businesses. I support the validation exercise, as it is not only fair to have business operating on on level ground. That is Naomi. The micro businesses will have a tough time, I'm very sure. And it only means that micro business, if they need to go to the next level, they need to understand taxes, eTIMS, they need to keep their books properly. So they need to up their game. When you're down there, you might sometimes escape so many things. And but if you have to work with someone who tells you, no, you have to produce an eTIMS invoice, you have to give me an eTIMS invoice, then you have to understand. Some businesses, e.g. local butchery with no eTIMS compliant, what happened? So we talked about buyer-initiated invoice or reverse invoicing, where if you're the company and you want to buy meat for your staff, and the person tells you, we don't have eTIMS, or we don't even know how to do it, you can raise an invoice on their behalf. The catch is they have to approve. So a code is shared to them, they have to approve, so that we also don't misuse it. And the moment they also approve, it means they, at the back of their mind, they have to remember that they have to declare their taxes. Tumeelewana? So they have to declare that income at the end of the year. So that also you don't, that is an exposure. Micro business, okay. KRA has especially unfair items, okay. Compliance costs for average business goes up. Compliance, okay. Will Matatu industry comply? Business owners, businesses with other items in pricing, catering, levy, service can. So those other expenses, I believe that sheet will be there. We have finance costs and so many other things that don't have the eTIMS invoice, because this is something that is coming in. I'm very sure even other bodies will be told to embrace, so that you always get an eTIMS invoice anywhere for anything, for any expense. But at the moment, those ones that don't provide, and just have an invoice or a receipt. With regard to buy initiated, if somebody has to, remember, this is somebody, a butcher, you've gone to a butchery, you're buying 10 kgs meat for your staff or 2 or what. You're telling them, if I need to buy from you, you give me eTIMS invoice. So they will do that because they need that business. If they are not conversant with the eTIMS, you do buyer initiated and you explain what does it mean. And then they give you the PIN. They have to, everybody in Kenya has a PIN. I believe so. Petty cash transactions, Irene, for last year possibly, but for petty, let me tell you something, and I mentioned here, if there's anything that will always put you in a fix when KRA are auditing you, is petty cash. Why? How we manage petty cash? We don't manage petty cash with documentation. You get 100,000 in a week for petty cash. You pay boda person. You pay some what? You pay fuel. You pay what? At the end of the day, you just tick. You just tick. This is the money I spent without source documentation. Even without a request of eTIMS, most of us don't keep source documentation of petty cash, and that is always a big issue. So it means that besides you having that petty cash certificate, you also having source document which are eTIMS compliant. So if you went to supermarket, there is an eTIMS invoice. And now supermarket are accepting you to give them PIN number so that they can put your PIN on the receipt. So the supermarket at the moment are accepting that portion. Okay, validation, okay. Okay. I see a lot of questions. The other time, Angela, I talked about how the buyer-initiated invoicing is done. Come next week, I'll do a demonstration, because today we were just doing the tax trends. I'll do a demo again. So let's proceed. And the eTIMS conversation is huge, and we're going to see how things are going to open up. So just keep coming. We'll be talking about the trends over and over and over to just see what happens. But what does it mean for our business for year 2026? 2025, we will fight to the end, but 2026, what does it mean? It means that we are now in a new reality, and that reality for our businesses, it is called eTIMS. So for your business to operate, it needs an eTIMS machine. And eTIMS is in so many forms. We have eTIMS USSD code that doesn't need internet. We have an application. I'll talk about that next week. So there are so many areas for you to be able to incorporate eTIMS. Above all, eTIMS on your purchases and on your expenses. That is where the catch is. So I believe that when we'll be filing for year 2026, in the year 2027, then we'll just be pulling data. And it tells us for those expenses, no, the system has, you've stated this, yours is 30 million, the system is giving us 20 million. So use 20 million, we don't need that 10 million. And then the system just accepts, it will just accept the data it has. So at the end of the day, most of our company will be liable to a lot of taxes, a lot. So this is something that I would encourage you and come learn more as we try to understand the whole idea of how eTIMS work. Yes. We also have eTIMS for non-VAT people. So eTIMS is not also for VATable. So if you're 5 million and below, there's still eTIMS for you. So let's proceed. Let's proceed to other trends. So we also have the fridge benefit rate that is at 8%. What is fridge benefit? It is a benefit that is given to the employees. So an employee might be given a loan by the company, possibly a free loan, or at 2%, at 4%. So the market rate is 8%. So if you're getting it at 6% and the market rate is 8%, that 2%, it is termed as a benefit to you and it is charged pay as you earn. Same way with deemed interest, a company may also receive a loan from a sister company, a related company, and that loan could be at 4%, 3%, but the market rate is 8%. So that difference, it is also termed as a benefit, and it is liable. The interest is liable to a withholding tax of 15%. So this is always, the CBK will always release for 3 months. Now we are January, February, March. By the time we go to April, they also release another rate. We have the NSSF changes. So we have the changes for tier 1 and changes for tier 2. For tier 1, now the earnings have risen from 8,000 to 9,000. And it is 6%. That is contribution, your contribution, and matching with the employee, with the employer also. Tier 2 from 72 to 108. So same way, 6% and 6% matching. So how does this happen? If you're earning possibly 30,000, you're just liable to do the 9%. But if you the 9,000 multiplied by 6%, and then you match it. But if you're earning 75,000, 80,000, no, if you are now earning, for instance, 120, you do tier 1, then when you get to 100, that 108, you go to tier 2, and then you also do the NSSF. So we also have the TCC enhancement. So the TCC, I don't know if you have tried to apply for a tax compliance. First, you have to be registered with eTIMS. You have to file all returns and pay all amounts which are due. So if you have outstanding liabilities, if there's anything, they are really checking before they give you a tax compliance. And the hardest is that you have to be registered with eTIMS. So those are enhancements that have been there, that have been put. So we also have approval of overpayment and installment adjustment voucher. So if you overpaid for whatever reason, taxes, and the installment adjustment voucher. So these are installment that right now we are installment 1 for year 2026. Remember, you should pay taxes, income tax in 4 installments, and you divide them. So you take tax for 2025, multiply by 110, then you subdivide in 4 quarters. So if you have those installment adjustment vouchers, they are also approved so that you can be able to utilize those amounts. Automated payment plan mechanism. So if you're having tax arrears, you can be able to do the automated payment plan. Previously, we would generate a payment plan, go to KRA, they approve, and then it is done on the system. But you can do it yourself. As long as the installment is within 6 months, you can be able to register for that liability and be able to pay it in a payment plan. I'll share the notes with you, so don't worry. And my co-host, you can give a link. So you get the link and then you put your email there, then I'll share the notes with you. Opening up the cargo tracker seal market. So when a cargo comes to Kenya, there's a tracker, and it has always been centralized by a few companies who have been given the approval to do the seal and the tracker. But now importers and transporters can produce and use their own compliant tracking devices, moving away from the previous single vendor model. So this is on imports. KRA will continue to monitor the cargo centrally through its customs system to maintain security and compliance. So there was a lot of delay because of the process was given a single vendor model, but is now opening up the cargo to make them faster cargo movement, lower cost through competition. Of course, if you're 2 or 3 who are giving these trackers, they mean they are very expensive. So opening up to that business, improve operational flexibility, and compliance remains crucial as long as the tracker are being tracked by KRA, then they were able to open it up. Reintroduction of nil filing on the KRA taxpayers portal. So the nil filing is there. So why was it suspended? They wanted to remove the misuse of nil return, and especially last year, by the way, most people who did eTIMS, you know, that one who tells you, oh, just get an eTIMS invoice on the cyber and bring, because for me to accept your purchase, or for me to accept this business, I need an eTIMS invoice. And some of these people, or some of you, or some of us would go to a cyber, of course, and get an eTIMS invoice, of course, under your even personal PIN. And at the end of the year, you file a nil return. And last year, KRA started calling people who did a nil return, yet they had eTIMS transactions or eTIMS sales. So they started calling them to now redo the eTIMS, to redo their calculations. And actually, they were requesting for bank statements. So if they call you for that meeting, they're looking for that bank statement. So they want to make sure that now you cannot be able to do that if you have eTIMS transactions. So eTIMS data withholding tax records, yes. Like me and some of you who are professionals here, someone goes and withholds 5%. And after withholding 5%, at the end of the year, you just file a nil return and you just go through. but now it cannot go through. It will prompt and tell you you have a withholding certificate. Custom and third-party information. Customs, if you imported something at the custom withdrew your PIN, you could do nil return, but now it will signal and say there's custom data information, third-party information. If somebody filed on your behalf, you've not done anything, but your PIN or your company PIN is quoted by somebody else, whether it's a customer, is a supplier, anywhere it is quoted, it can be able to signal and say, this person, their iTax ledger is okay, but this company and this company quoted that they bought from them. So that through that data, then the new return cannot go through. So the introduction to just make sure that marks the conclusion of initial data verification phase. And now it is available subjected to enhanced system checks. So it has been reintroduced. Let's talk about PAYE reductions. Deductions proposals. So these were proposals that were being proposed by the finance cabinet minister. And we have seen a lot of conversation around it. And they wanted to push the threshold of the pay as you earn from 24,000 to 30,000 per month. I think it is a very welcome move. This means that those people earning 30,000 less will not pay as you earn. And I believe when we come to that point, if they accept that point, it also affects other things. We also have MRIs, rental, that if you're not getting rental that is 24,000 and below, you don't pay MRI. So I don't know if it is still affect such, and make sure that they also, if you're not earning rent that is below 30, you don't pay for MRI. So I don't know if it affect all other areas, but I'm just hoping that this is a welcome move. And actually I saw that it will affect about 1.5 employees, 1,500,000. So it is quite affecting a lot of people. Tax rate, however, this is what I want to say before I forget. However, even if you're earning 5,000, 10,000, housing levy does not have capping, the cap that it doesn't have. Same with NSSF and SHIF, they don't. And at the moment, by the way, KRA is undergoing, that one we didn't write somewhere. Thank God I remembered. KRA is conducting a tax compliance check on affordable housing levy, especially if you had wages. If you had wages anywhere in your income statement, KRA is conducting a compliance check on affordable housing levy. Remember, any person who comes to your organization, they have to pay, or in your business, they have to pay the affordable housing levy. So if you have seen that signal, KRA asking for payroll, what, if you've seen that letter, that is what they are looking for. And by the way, I guess a week ago, they shared so many letters asking people for payroll, employee contracts. What else were they asking for? That area. They are looking for affordable housing levy. So what do you do as an organization if you have wages? Even if you are paying them, or you have casuals, even if you are paying them on a weekly basis, tell them that I'll be deducting this 1.5% on this amount so that I can do housing levy. I've seen companies who do that. That at the end of the month, they now declare all these wages and they now pay the affordable housing levy. So that is ongoing. Taxpayers, tax rate deduction for lower and middle income earners. So we have lower and middle income earners. So if you're earning 30,000 to 50, the plan is to reduce pay rate, tax rate from 30 to 25. The 5% is quite a lot. So this aims to increase the take-home pay and ease cost of living pressure to workers in that income band. So we're going to see, they are expected to include the tax law amendment bill. We're going to just see how the bill comes in and what other proposals that are going to be there. So you can also tell me on the chat, what do you think? Do you think they are doing more? Or do you think, what do you think about it? Ama watutole housing levy. Okay, you can share on the chat so that we can go to the next one. Okay. Okay, let me proceed. I'm going to answer those questions in a minute. I guess let me just read what you have written, kidogo, so that I talk about the surveillance system. They need to remove housing levy and SHA. The SHA is for our medical care. So if you don't do that, you will not get the medical care. Atoe housing levy kabisa. Okay. PAC group anasema ni campaign. Okay. Okay. And the pay will be reduced, but affordable housing levy will still be more. Okay. Oh, most of you are thinking it's a campaign strategy. Oh, just playing with our minds. Okay. Political move. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Affordable housing levy now hatutaki. Okay. Okay. When I hear, I don't know if we had this conversation, and sometimes I don't know if these conversations are political or what, that there is a loan that was acquired by affordable housing levy, that it was capitalized. Did you hear that it was capitalized for, I guess, 7 years? So it cannot be removed until that capitalization of all those years. I don't know if it is politics or it is something that is there. So for you who is sending the email, kindly put the email on the link. My co-host, share the link again, kindly. Kindly put it there so it is easier for us to be able to share the notes. Naomi, wages for someone who has come one day. SHA, what? Housing levy. It's only that SHA and NSSF is not really aggressive, but affordable housing levy, there are so many audits around it right now, especially for those wages. Nancy, KRA letter. Kindly, Nancy, pick our number or share our number, and then we can talk. It doesn't mean that you're an NGO, you shouldn't be audited. Remember, an NGO has taxes also. Which are these tax? Employee tax, pay as you earn. Even if you're exempted from others, you're supposed to do pay as you earn, affordable housing levy, the employee taxes. Kindly, if you're sending, okay, the link is there. Kindly share your email there. So let's go back. You still ask me a question. You still ask me the question. Let's proceed to the surveillance. So let me repeat this one more time. My co-host has shared a link and has shared like 10 times. Kindly fill the details below to get the webinar recording and also yes, kindly share it there. Share your email there, kindly. Okay, let's proceed. Let's talk about the surveillance that KRA has said that they are going to do surveillance, that they are doing surveillance on if you're not paying taxes. So KRA secures new surveillance system to target tax evaders. So the system is able to collect massive amounts of financial data, links the data to taxpayers' PIN, automatically compares, analyzes, and scores behavior, flags inconsistency without waiting for human audit. I also want to see this surveillance. I also want to see this system. So apparently they have stated that the system already has been able to flag over 490 potential tax evaders, especially on rental income tax. But then most landlords don't pay the rental income tax. So it has been able to spot them. So reveals a wider gap between expected revenue and actual collection, especially for landlord, demonstrate the effectiveness of data-driven compliance monitoring. I'm thinking it was able to pick KPLC data, water data, what data, what are the other one, and just synchronize it so quickly. I'm wanatumia AI. But this is something monitor and see going forward. So the focus area for surveillance system is this: rental income, and national declaring, individuals and businesses not filing returns, taxpayers declaring nil return despite having active transactions, mismatches between declared income and property ownership are another one. Last year, at the end of the last year, I saw somebody shared a letter. They had bought an apartment, and the letter stated, you bought an apartment worth 5 million, but through your tax records, you don't have any income. State, how did you buy the property? So this property could have been when they were doing the stamp duty, because the property is being sold by a real estate company. Most of the real estate company don't pay capital gain because they are companies. But when you buy that property, for you to transfer it to your name, you're supposed to do stamp duty. So I guess the surveillance data ikafika hapo, the surveillance system, then it picked the information of the stamp duties And it came to KRA system, and it said this person has been filing nil, nil, nil. But yet they have bought a property last year worth 5 million. And a letter is shared, and you're told, tell us where you got the money from. Na ilikuwa kesi. Oh, I got a loan. They tell you, give us loan documents. Oh, it was my savings. They ask you from where. So many things. And especially if you're not even employed, as we do business out here, you're not even employed, you're just doing your business, just filing a nil return. There's nothing on your ledger. There's nothing on your iTax portal. So property ownership, mismatch, transaction data, and third-party information. I mentioned about third-party information. It means that your supplier, your customer, you're withholding, there's somebody who has mentioned your company or your PIN somewhere. Then you can be able to use that data to actually understand that you have transactions or you have a business. I don't know, possibly it is also using Google Maps and Google Know My Business. And social media where we advertise the businesses we do. So we're going to keep tabs. It's a new invention. We're going to keep tabs how it operates and the new areas that is happening. Let me discuss a few cases so that I can come back to your questions. Let me discuss a few cases. So we have a Del Monte case. I hope you were able to see it. And these cases, I want you to understand the reason why I'm putting the cases here. You can see the determination at the end of the day, both big and small, and also understanding the process of litigation. So Del Monte and KRA had a dispute of transfer pricing and corporate income tax. So we'll talk about the transfer pricing. For the year 2018, it was 1.7 billion. The whole case was about 7.7 billion. So what triggered the dispute? In the year 2018, KRA was able to find out that Del Monte was earning low profit margins in Kenya. And it sold the product to related foreign affiliates or foreign companies. What does that mean? That you're selling a product, you're producing something in Kenya. And this happens for companies that are doing the agricultural product, flowers, even fruits, even herbs, even the horticulture items, that you can have the farm in Kenya grow. The moment you're selling to other markets outside Kenya, you're not selling to markets, you're selling to another related company. So you lower profits here. You can even sell them cost to cost so that you keep making losses or very minimal profits. Then you transfer the profits to the other company. So that was the issue. So a transfer pricing policy states that when you're selling to that to that related company, it should be at arm's length. It should be like you're selling to any other entity. It should be at the market rate. And it should be stipulated very, very well on the selling price. If you're getting loans from the related company, it should be put there. If you're getting any fee management help, it should be quoted on the transfer pricing policy. So KRA position was that there were risks. Let's see. And this is the events 2018, 2024. You see, sometimes such a case, might take time. When it comes to litigation, from the objection to the tribunal to the ADR, sometimes the process is very slow and requires a lot of data and a lot of validation of the issues that you're having. So the tribunal stated that the low profit markup, that was 4.8%, 83, was not commercially justified. So they stated that that profit margin was very, very small, and they are supposed to pay that amount of money. What does that mean? Does it mean they pay? So there are other areas of litigation still. This was held at the, let me see, tribunal, tax appeals tribunal. So for anyone who is selling their product, especially to a rated company outside Kenya, make sure that you have a transfer pricing policy in place. So I also have another case that is Kasema. And the case is on principal activity. Let me tell you that it was on undeclared incomes. And the company claimed that the assessment 2015 and 2016 was assessed, it was time barred. This was very crucial, so I really wanted to mention this. It was time barred. What does that mean? KRA states that you cannot be audited for 5 years, beyond 5 years. Beyond 5 years, that is on the law. So what happened at this particular point, because the assessment were done in the year 2022, so it means the assessment period 20 was within the time. So what happened is that if you file today, 2026, and you're filing for a return for 2020, let's say we are 2020 is what we are not doing. If you file a return for 2019 or 2018 and you file them today, the time you can be assessed on that, because the 5 years covers the point where you file your return. It's not the year. It is the point where you file that return. So the burden of proof did not show the assessment were wrong. The tribunal reaffirmed the taxpayer's burden of proof. So the company lost. This is the key takeaway. Filing the return stated that 5-year assessment period, no return assessment can be issued. That okay. So the 5 years period was that the assessment 2025, 2026, 2027 was upheld because it was filed in the year 2022. So the time period from the date of filing to the day of assessment was okay. The moment where KRA raises an issue, there was also something here. Taxpayers must provide evidence. So the moment where the assessment was done, they stated, oh, it was time barred, and they stick to that. It also meant that even if it was time barred, evidence and of information that they had required should have been provided. We also have another case, Trina Kenya Limited. So the dispute years 2019, 2020, 2021. So the taxes assessed, all of them. So the tribunal finding. So what was the issue? Okay. So this was the ground of appeal. There was incorrect interpretation of tax provisions and improper upholding of KRA assessments. So the taxpayer, that was Trina, they said that the professional and subcontractors' fees was upheld. But at the end of the day, the KRA stated the key takeaways that was the burden of proof lies on the taxpayer. So it is upon your evidence that you're supposed to provide that is going to win the case. KRA assessment stands unless disapproved with evidence. It is the proper documentation, the source documents that you're having that can make you win a case. And this is where something comes in. Tribunal is primarily fact-finding body, that you cannot bring stories that I did this, I did this, I did this. It means that documents are stated and they are there. Most of the time when you're having cases, most of the cases go to this level, most of the time because you don't have evidence and you don't have documentation, proper documentation. And you say, oh, push the case to the next level, to the next level. But if you don't have any evidence of whatever you're talking about, you cannot win. So the burden of proof lies on the taxpayer, on the company to provide information that KRA can use. And legal information. Legal information is like, if you're supposed to have a compliance certificate, no, an exemption certificate. Sometimes I've seen cases where a company will say, my project was exempted from tax, but you don't have an exemption certificate. And they will tell you, unless you provide that exemption certificate we see it is this one, we cannot remove these taxes, even if your contract stated or even if the withholding was not done, we don't care. We just need to see the exemption certificate provided by KRA. So the burden of proof lies upon you. And sometimes when you're doing some of these projects, it's very important to understand after sometimes you're going to be audited and you need to have documentation. The same way when you're farming, you cannot say I had farm inputs and you don't have the evidence to show. So we'll be having the webinar that is navigating eTIMS. That will be on 13th, next Friday, and then taxation of real estate the other Friday. I want to look at the questions. I want to look at the questions. Someone is saying they're using AI, I guess it's a surveillance. Nasibo has 100 questions. Are invoices on annual subscription issued by various professionals? Yes. Let them give you an eTIMS invoice. Remember, education is VAT exempt, and you find even these professional bodies that give trainings, they're exempted. But doesn't mean that if you're exempted, you shouldn't have eTIMS invoice. An eTIMS invoice has accommodates exemption, zero rated, standard rated, and even people who are non-VAT. So get an eTIMS invoice, it will cover you. Otherwise, that expense will not, you're going to lose that expense. Yes, I'll share the recording and please clarify how KRA intends at the moment. I want to hear people who are doing imports. Because if you're doing imports, when you go to eTIMS data, you find your import information there. KRA has the custom system that captures imports, and it will even capture the VAT that you pay there. So watu wa import watuambie if they are getting that information. So import is covered. Will there be an amnesty? I don't know. What are the taxes on limited company by guarantee? Even if a company is exempted from tax. And remember also, a company, make sure that you get an exemption certificate. Get an exemption certificate so that it covers your income tax. It is going to cover your income tax. But for PAYE, the staff, you have to do that. When do a taxpayer go to ADR? A good questions, and I'll ask when we'll be talking about tax dispute, or you come to the taxation masterclass. You go because of your case. So we handle cases to the ADR and to the tribunal. So if you have a case, for instance, KRA has stated that you're supposed to pay 10 million. And you have evidence. Remember, evidence is documentation, nothing else. And you have evidence, possibly you're just arguing on law, on positioning, and other things on facts. You can push that case to the objection and even to the tribunal and to the ADR, and they can listen to you. It's just legal processes to just get a better hearing. Remember, in all these areas, you get to interact with new KRA staff, and they also get to listen to your case. So if you're doing imports, Mombi, through a tax, clearing and forwarding agent, you need to get those informations. You need to get your documents. Can I get a list of accredited suppliers of eTIMS? Yes, they are on KRA portal. I believe they are on KRA portal, and you can also get eTIMS client, which is free of charge. Just download it. If you've never used eTIMS, you can first download, which is free of charge, and use it. If a company has two employees, they have a freelancer whom they pay 2K per month. So that is 2K per month, okay. So we can, because you're supposed to do withholding if you pay them 24,000 and above. I believe you can put it as an expense. Of course, you're going to see, those are some of the challenges that will come with with the eTIMS. Why don't they give you an eTIMS invoice when you pay them that 2K so that you cover yourself? Let me answer this one. I have many questions. If a company has losses and is resort to tax, will the tax loss be carried forward to the following year? If a client travel under, then you just come with an asset and you just bring to your business. At the end of the day, it's like you even buying a local asset without eTIMS. The good side with an asset, you can be able to capitalize it and have it on your balance sheet. What is CL12 adjustment when he injects capital? No, it is not mandatory to adjust the CR12, but any director injection should be on the balance sheet. Should be able to open a director's account where they do the injection, the withdrawal, any transaction, and have it on your balance sheet. Otherwise, by the time KRA comes to the bank statement and see director withdrawal, director injections, they ask you for director's account, which you should be having. They can even ask you for a ledger for director, which you should be having. And I've also mentioned that those withdrawals, KRA can term those withdrawals as money he paid himself. Money he paid himself, so it can be charged pay as you earn. Does it mean to be invited to VAT special table? Eunice, you're up to compliance, and special table has become very very involving, to a point where you remember special table is affecting your VAT. It will affect you not filing your VAT. It comes and affect your eTIMS. Actually, think it's very punitive. It will affect even how you're doing your eTIMS. At the end of the day, if you don't solve it, it collapses your business, because nobody wants to do business with you, because your eTIMS invoice, your eTIMS will be having issues. You'll not even be filing. So make sure that you just go solve it. If they have not closed down your VAT filing, just go solve the issue, because the moment they do, it will really affect your business. And they will always have triggers, possibly on credit position, or you're not using your eTIMS properly. You can ask them, what is the reason that you'd want to push me to special table? The import service do not have ADF, imported service. I would want to know the imported service, Muigai, which is that imported service? Are you having people from abroad doing something to you? I believe they should give you invoices. If I purchase a vehicle on loan as a consultant, is the interest on loan allowable? Yes, it is. But also remember you are a consultant. I don't know how, do you have are you operating under your personal PIN? Because in case of an audit, they also term how you're using the vehicle. Is it for personal business? Is it for you? Is it for you at home? Okay. Uh-huh. So I'll answer two more. Then I talk about the taxation masterclass. Just allow me to answer, to talk about the taxation masterclass. You can also follow me on TikTok. Most of the time I'll pick these questions and I'll answer them on TikTok when the time is very minimal. So make sure that you also follow me, Regina Kengori, CPAK. And also, if you have directors who travel for marketing, how do you expense the accommodation and abroad without accommodation abroad without eTIMS or abroad? Okay, that's okay. I believe, this validation process is an ongoing process. So I'm very sure the way we had the auto-population issue, that you are saying, oh, we can't be able to do this will have a problem, and this one, then this one. And for sure, we had a million issues. And the system became better and better and better until today, that the system just auto-populates and you're just comfortable to file. So I'm very sure we'll be looking at how things turn around or how things open up. And I'm sure that we can be able to get to that point. So you can come and learn taxation masterclass. We'll be having a webinar, an online program, and also a physical program. The online program is 25,000 for 10 days, and the physical is for 3 days at 50,000, and the online at 25,000. It's comprehensive tax training, everything, tax with a lot of practicals, eTIMS, everything. The resolution mechanism, tax disputes, all that, and we give you a lot of practicals and a lot of learning. So we learn, and it is going to be a very interesting conversation. So if you'd want to participate, I believe on the link, there was somewhere that you're supposed to fill in. You can also pick the number, that's 0728 897 429. And also, if you need to, just call in and ask a question. We also have a free calendar. My co-host, you can tell me if you have a calendar booking. Free. We give you 30 minutes to just put you on a calendar and answer your question. We can do a Teams call, or a Teams like this one, and we just answer your questions. 30 minutes free of charge. So my co-host, you can share the calendar booking. Just book. Some of your questions are very personalized. Others, you even want to share a letter and you want to get something. So just make sure that you do the calendar booking. So we do tax services. At the moment, KRA has issued so many letters. Kindly let us handle your tax issues. We also do a tax health check. You might not be having a letter, but you just don't know where you are with eTIMS, with things that are happening. You just feel that this is the right moment for you to comply. We can be able to do a tax health check where we check 2 years of how you've been filing your taxes. We give you a report, and then we do tax planning for you, for your company. And this is very good for organizations or businesses that are about to scale. You know, when your business is 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, sometimes tax compliance, you can be able to just survive. But the moment you just start hitting other amounts, you're going to 10 million, 20 million, you need to be tax sound. So this is for organizations that are scaling. For a business to go to the next level, tax is a must. If your business is pushed, I don't know how many of us are at the medium taxpayer's office. That is MTO. The tax checks, the compliance is on another level, carry audits so much. When the company goes to large taxpayers' office, oh my goodness, they even send their system, auditors who can come and audit your server. So it becomes tougher. So the more you grow, the more tax planning, tax education, tax system you have to incorporate in your business. So we also do a lot of audit, and our audit service is very, very good because we have the background of tax. Most of the tax queries that we answer them because your books were not filed properly. So there were so many things that were done incorrectly that is resulting to the trigger of tax or taxes that you go to a company and they carry withholding tax. A company has withholding tax of 5 million, yet the auditor filed 2 million as income tax, and then boom, you can't even explain anything. You just have to comply and pay taxes. So most of the tax issues, most of the time, are man-made. So audit by a company and a firm that understands tax is very, very important. So with that, I don't know how many of us, I would want to say thank you so much for coming to learn. Asanteni sana, sana, sana. I'm so excited that every time we come to learn, I'm hoping that we get something at the end of the day every time that you're here. And this year, because it seems that we are having tax issues right, left, and center, we are going to be having a lot of conversation around tax trends and so many things. So just be coming so that you learn. As long as you put your email on the chat, we'll be able to share the notes with you so that you can go through them another time. Do you do SACCO audit? Yes, we do. Asante sana pia. Thank you so much. Thank you. Just keep coming, keep learning. The only thing that can help you on tax is just understanding. The more you understand, the more, ni kama ukijua iyo uoga inaisha. And you also make better decisions. Just understand. Whether if we are having iTax issue, if we are having something, I'll always mention anything that is happening so that you're clear on the way forward. So asanteni sana. My co-host tumeweka calendar booking. Oh, kuna mtu anasema, okay, let me read that one. Taxation for schools, hiyo tutafanya. So co-host andika hiyo tutafanya next month. Tutafanya hiyo next month. But the schools are audited, especially on how you do PAYE. So much, because PAYE ya shule, you have bursaries, or someone was given a laptop, education benefits, so many things, those benefits. And one of these times we're going to talk about pay as you earn in Wholesome for 2 hours, especially on the benefits. So if you bring another company, yes, we'll give you a discount. Hiyo swali imepotea. And leo mmeamua kuniwekea emails kwa chat. My co-host, kwani email yetu ifanye the link? So if you're here for a few minutes, I'd want you to give me 10 minutes. After the many years of doing tax trainings and interacting with the businesses, we realize that most of our businesses have issues with documentation and bookkeeping. And when we asked, we did a market surveillance, most of you cited that the accounting softwares that you are used out here are very complex. And that is why when you incorporate them, at the end of the day, you don't use them. So we went backward and made an accounting software. So this is locally made and such a beautiful innovation. My Accurate Books that is able to simplify your accounting work. So it is very, very simple that even if you don't have the accounting background, you can be able to use it. And also it also have a wallet, My Accurate Pay wallet, that it can help you manage your petty cash. Petty cash is one of the biggest issue when it comes to taxes. Because of record keeping. So you can be able to monitor all your petty cash. Is a wallet. You can be able to do bulk payments and have that information there. You can have someone prepare another one, approves. Then that sheet, it can be incorporated in your ERP in QuickBooks, and it can be able to synchronize how you do your work at a click of a button. For collection, it can also do collection where you connect it to your till, you do your collection and you get your receipt direct. And that information is transferred to your accounting software. So that is a wallet, and we have My Accurate Books. So I'd request for 10 minutes kindly for this explanation, a very short demo if you are interested. To just listen to this demo. Otherwise, thank you so much. May you have a wonderful, wonderful Friday, and God bless you. So Joachim, take over. Omuimo, in this tax regime, how do we avoid tax illegally, Mwalimu? I'll talk about tax saving strategies. Just keep coming. I'll talk about those. And you try to see how it works on your business. My Accurate team, you can take over.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Regina. So today I'm David Joachim, so I'll be able to take you about My Accurate Books and how you will be able to simplify your accounting paperwork so that to have always a digital copy, which is more safe. So this is the landing page on our software, that is My Accurate Books. So anytime you just check on your browser and go to myaccuratebook.com, you will be able to get our landing page, that is our website, and you can be able to log in if you have already managed to create an account, and also can be able to create an account. So you'll be My Accurate Books has a lot different benefits. It will always act as your POS, so you can be able to manage receipting of your customers, and also invoicing, and also creating quotation in one place, so that whenever you do a sale, you can always be able to generate a invoice for the particular client. And also the customer management, you will be able to have your clientele on the system and also segment them in the different categories they are, so that you can, whenever maybe a customer maybe wants a statement about their payment, you can always be able to generate a customer statement. And also for your historical data, so that you can always be able to see have a customer management on how you sell, so that if you are customer, your long-time customers, you can always be able to issue them with discounts whenever you need to. And also on the item management, you'll be able to track about your inventory. That is the stock level. You can be able to set the order points, and also you can be able to manage your products effectively, so that you can always be able to have a matching inventory between your physical stock and also the system stock, and also to limit theft by either employees within the company. And also we have also payment integration to M-Pesa and also to the wallet. So whenever a customer wants to make a payment, you can always be able to prompt them, so that your money goes to your till number or your wallet, which is your point of full collection of your business finances. On the wallet, you can also be able to manage your payment to your suppliers, and also manage your petty cash payments, so that maybe if you want a statement for all the payments you have made within the company, you can always be able to generate those statements. And also it has an aspect of multi-user access. So you can be, as a business proprietor, you can be able to input your different employees into the system, and also give them the rights on what they manage within the system. So if an employee is set to manage your inventory, you can be able to give them just the permission of the inventory, and limit maybe the other areas such as reports and other expenses. Can be able to limit that. If employees are to manage the sales, you just give them the rights to manage the sales and the customers, so they cannot be able to interact with the other aspects of your business. And the key point is your system is web-based, so your data, you'll always be able to access it even come 10 years to come. So your data will always be live. So there's no risk of losing your data. So that is more of the system. So we have also some updates which we are rolling out within this quarter of the year. That is the petty cash management and also the payroll system. We are working on that to have them in the system, so that it can be a comprehensive accounting system. So so when if I don't have an account, I can be able to just click login, and then I can be able to create a business account. So what is required in registration for an account is the name of the business proprietor, the business name. If you are VAT registered, and also if you are not VAT registered, you can be able to indicate that, and also location of that particular business. And also you'll be able to input your business logo, so that all your invoices will be able to capture all those particular details. That is your location, your business logo, and also the currency you use, because we have discovered the tours and travel businesses, they usually prefer using the USD or the euro. So you can be able to select the currency you want to use, and also you can be able to input a conversion rate, so that if it's a customer you have issued a invoice on a cash, you can be able to convert it into to dollar form. So that is on the process of creating an account. So for this demo, I'll just log into my particular account, so that I can show you how the live account looks like, how you can be able to navigate through, and how you'll be able to input your different entries into the system. So whenever you log into your account, so this is my live account, you'll be able to, this is the landing page you'll be able to get. It gives you an overview of the business. That is how your business is performing. from the sales depending on the date range you have been able to select. And also it gives you the expenses of that particular period, and also the purchases you have received from your suppliers. And also it gives you a short overview of your profit and loss, so that anytime you log into your account, you can get a comprehensive report of how your business is performing. And also on the part of sales, you can also be able to have a daily sales performance graph, so that you can always be able to gauge how the particular days or particular week was performing, depending on the sales. If this particular day you managed to make a sale of 100,000, tomorrow you made a sale of 50,000, so that you can always be able to rethink about your sales strategies, and know how you can be able to counter that on the drop of the sales. And then on the far corner is where you get a data's report. So if maybe you sell on a credit, you can, whenever you log into the system, you can always be able to know the amount of money which is still out there with your customers, so that you can also be able to avoid having so much money out there, so you can devise on how you can be able to do the collections. So that is more of the dashboard. It's just an overview of how your business is performing. Then on the items is so the system is made for the two types of business. That is a product-based business, and also the service business. So if you are dealing with products, and also if you are dealing with services, you can be able to have them on the system. And also if when adding an item or a service, you just click on add the item. You can then input the item name. Then on the category, you'll be able to select what type of a category. If it's a service, you can be able to select if it's a service. If it's a product, you can be able to select it's a product. Then input the purchase price, the selling price, the quantity, the stock level you have, and also the description of that particular, and also set a reorder level, so that you can always get reminders, and also the tax bracket you are, and also you can be able to set a minimum and also a maximum selling limits. And also if you are in a business, in a manufacturing company, also you can be able to input item composition of different items, so that you can always be able to generate a production price before you set a selling price. And that's how, and then you'll be able to add that particular item. And also you can be able to have the item image on the system. So if it's a service, the same process, but you select it's a service, and you can be able to input the service name, the selling price of that particular service, the tax type, and also a little description of that particular service. And also you can be able to set a minimum and also a selling price limits, and then you can be able to add those particular services. So you'll be able to have both the products and also the services. So you can be able to create those, but even if your business works with both at the same time, you can be able to add them. And also if you have a lot of inventory, there is an Excel sheet on the import button, where you will be able to generate that particular Excel, populate the data of the inventory you have, and then you can be able to upload that particular file on the system, and your items will be will be updated as follows on the system. So you can have as many items as your business entails. Then on the sales is where you will be able to create receipts and invoices, and also generate quotations, issue credit notes, and also receive payments for customers who may be purchased on a credit basis. So you can be able to do that on the particular button of make sales. So these are some of the sales. So if a sale is fully paid, it will be able to note it is fully paid. A partial payment, you'll always be able to know that this particular invoice was paid partially. And also unpaid invoice, you can always be able to denote this particular invoice was not paid fully. So maybe I can check if I have some of the invoices which are unpaid. So I think yours. So if an invoice is not paid, you can be able to know this particular invoice is not paid. for your easy tracking. So we can try to making one sale so that we can see how the process goes. So if I want to make a sale, I'll just click make a sale, and then I can be able to add the items I want to sell. So if I click on the items I want to sell, all my particular items or services will be able to appear there. And also you can be able to see the stock level of those particular items. So maybe I want to sell this particular two products. So I just select the products, and then I can be able to input maybe the quantity I want to sell, maybe 10 items on each. And then you'll be able to add the customer you want to sell to. If it's a walk-in, you just type walk-in. If it's a customer you want to add on the system, you can always be able to add. You just need the names and also the phone number. And also, if a customer had an previous date, you can always be able to add that. If it's a business customer, you'll be able to input the business name and also the contact person, the phone number, and even maybe the opening date, and also their KRA pin, and then their email, and then you can be able to add that particular customer for invoicing. So for now, I'll just select maybe one customer on this tab. So I select David Olwatch, and then we can be able to sell to them, the particular customer. So you can be able to, if you have integrated your M-Pesa on the system, that is the till, you'll be able to prompt that particular customer, and the data will automatically update on the system. And also that is on the M-Pesa and also the wallet, and also we are working to have the pay bill integration so that whenever a payment is paid to the bank, it will automatically update through the system without having to input any data, so that all the process within the system is automated. So I just, for now, because I've not incorporated my till, I just click on the payment, then I can be able to select the different payment methods I use. So if it is maybe the Equity Bank, I just select the Equity Bank, and then I can be able to complete that particular sale. So I think that one of the item, it doesn't have stock. So if an item doesn't have enough stock, you cannot be able to sell that particular item. So maybe I can reduce the stock levels I want to sell here so that we can go to the next step. And then I can now create that particular invoice. So you can issue the, if you have the thermal printers, you can be able to print this and also issue the particular client. And also if it is the A4 format, you can also be able to generate the A4 format and also be able to issue your client with those with a particular receipt or invoice. So it will have all the items you sold to that particular client, and also the price and also the payment method that particular client used, and also the person who served that particular client. So when you return to sell, if you want it on A4 format, again, you can just click on the actions and view details, and then you can be able to generate the A4 format, and also you will be able to generate a delivery note for that particular receipt. So this is a sample of A4 format of that particular cell. So it will be able to contain your business information, and also the business logo, and also the customer you sold to, and also the items, and also payment information that the particular customer used to make the payment to, and also the time. So that will be the outlook of the A4 format, which you can be able to print it and also issue that particular client with. Then on the quotations, you can also be able to create quotations, which you can be able to turn them into invoices. So quotation, you just click new quotation, and then you can be able to select the items you want to sell to, you want to issue quotation for, and also say add the customer you want to issue quotation for, and then you can be able to generate that particular quotation. Okay. And so if a quotation is approved, if they are still pending, whenever it is approved, you can always be able to convert it to an invoice, and also be able to issue that particular invoice to your client. So you don't have to make two entries of creating a quotation again. We go to create an invoice. So you can always turn that particular quotation to an invoice and then process it for the particular customer. Then on the credit notes, in case maybe you sold some items to a client and they were defective, you can always be able to issue credit notes if the customer returns those particular items or comes for an exchange. You can always be able to generate quotations. And then on the receive payments, whenever maybe you have clients who, if you have clients who you sell to them on a credit, you can always be able to see all the credits your customer you sold on credit and also their pending balances, so that whenever they make a payment, it can be able to be updated on the system. So if a customer makes this particular payment for this particular invoice, you can also be able to update it on the system and also generate a consolidated invoice for that particular invoice. Then the other tab is on the purchases, where you'll be able to input your suppliers on the system, so that whenever you want to record a purchase order or you want to record a purchase invoice, you can always be able to record that, and also so that you can always generate supplier statements for the different items they brought to you, and also the payments made to them. And also if maybe you had not paid a particular supplier, so that you can always be able to update on, or whenever you make maybe the payment to that particular supplier, you can be able to update it on the system, or make a payment through the wallet. You can be able to, it will be able to update on the system immediately. So the other part is and also you can be able to generate issue debit notes for your suppliers whenever maybe they send to you defective items you want to, maybe, or some items were damaged. You can always be able to create debit notes. Then on the transaction, you can be able to see all the payments from the sales and also the payments to the different suppliers. You can always be able to generate that particular report. That is, if you made a payment for a purchase, and also if it was a payment for a receipt or a sale, you can always be able to generate that report, and also it gives you detailed report of if it was sent to the bank, or was paid through the till or our business M-Pesa number. All that report you can be able to generate there. And then on the expenses is where you'll be able to record different expenses you incur as a business. That is maybe from the rent to maybe a payment to your employees, and also office expenses. And also maybe in case some items were damaged on the inventory, you can be able to generate a direct expense on the expenses, so that you can remove those particular items from your inventory. And also you'll be able to give a reason for that. So you'll be able to, when you go to add expenses, you can be able to add you can be able to create different categories of expenses you incur depending on the business you run. Or there are some of the expenses which are default there. That is maybe the repair and maintenance, rates, insurance. So you can always be able to add as many expenses as you have as a company that is on the Excel, so that maybe if you want to generate an expense report, you can always be able to do so, and also see where your money you are investing, your money is going to. Are they legit expenses? Are they productive or unproductive, depending on that? So you can be able to gauge that, and also you can be able to generate an expense report both in Excel and also in PDF. So, and also if an expense is paid and also unpaid, you can also be able to input that, so that when you make a payment for that particular expense, you can always be able to update on the system, so that you don't double pay a particular expense, or you make sure that your records are always up to date. The other part is on the customers. I think we had walked through on the how to add a customer. So can be able to import your customers. So there is an Excel sheet which you can be able to populate your customers, depending on they are individual customers or business customers, and you'll be able to upload it on the system. And again, you can also be able to export a customer list of your customers if you maybe you want a physical copy. Adding a customer, you just need this particular information that is for an individual customer. For a business customer, you just need the business name, contact person, KRA PIN, delivery shipping address, and also the billing address. And then on the category, you can be able to categorize your customers. Maybe you are in a school setting, can be able to categorize your customers maybe in a form of grades. And also maybe if you have a different departments, you can be able to categorize the customers depending on the department they are served on. So that is something you can be able to, so that you can have a clear differentiation of your customers. Then on the accounting reports is where you can be able to create your charts of accounts. In the accounting, you can be able to create your sub accounts. You can be able to create that and also generate other accounting report that is either from the cash flow to the balance sheet to the trial balance. All these can be able to generate them digitally. So according to the information you have input in the system, it becomes easier to generate these particular reports. So if you have input the correct details, you'll be able to generate a correct balance sheet, a correct cash flow statement, and also you'll also be able to update your different assets on the system, so that on the balance sheet you can also always have a correct balance sheet that entails all the particulars in that particular business. That is more on the accounting. Then on the reports, you'll be able to generate if you want to check maybe a stock level, you can be able to generate an inventory report, and also you can be able to generate a report of maybe stock transfer from one branch to another branch, or that you can be able to generate on the inventory and also the product cost of goods sold, products which are currently remaining, and also in case there was items which were returned by your customers, you can always be able to see that. And also inventory movement between different branches, you can always be able to get that. Then also you can be able to generate a profit and loss report from a system that is in both Excel and in PDF, that entails both the revenue, the cost of goods, and also the operating expenses, and also a breakdown of all those particular expenses incurred maybe on that particular period. The other part is on you can also be able to generate a debtors report to show you the debtors aging variables and also the customer balances, both in Excel and also in PDF. These are some of the reports which you can be able to get on the reports. So these maybe I can download this one. Maybe we look at it. Just a minute, I open it. So this is a sample of our debtors reports. So it will have all the details and how much how that particular amount has stayed with the customer. It will have all the customers and also their debts has remained with them for how long. And also it will be able to also give you a detailed breakdown of each particular customer and their particular invoices. So that is something you can also be able to generate from the system. So it becomes easy to do that on the system because it is always a tap away, just a button away, rather than doing these particular recordings on a manual way, trying to find maybe lost records. So it becomes easier and also manageable for a business. So then the other part on which we have not talked about is maybe now then you can also be able to generate a creditors report and also the sales report. The other part is on the user management. So you'll, depending on your business model, you maybe have different types of workers within the organization. Some are salespeople, some are the storekeepers. You'll be able to give permission to the system depending on the role of a particular person. Maybe if it's a cashier, accountant, or a salesperson, you can be able to give that. And also you'll be able to limit maybe the areas you don't want them to fill, and also you'll be able to assign a particular person to a particular branch and then give them a role. And then on the next page, you can be able to limit the permissions on the system. So if you want them to manage sales and customers, you can be able to give them those particular permission, and also don't select the areas you don't want them to visit. So if you don't want them to manage expenses, you can be able to not to give those particular permissions to them. So it depends on a particular person, what area, what he does, and also give permission accordingly. And then the last bit is on the branches, is where you'll be able to input the different branches, so that you can always be able to track each particular branch performance on its own, so that you can, as an admin, you can be able to switch from one branch to another branch to see how that particular branch is performing. Also generate their particular reports or as a branch on its own. And also if you want a combined sales report or a combined report of all the branches, you can always switch to all branches and generate a combined report of all the branches. That is more on the branches. So as you have seen, the system is easy to manage and also very fast. So that we noted that most of accounting system are hard to navigate through. So we try to simplify ours the best possible way, but ensure it's capturing all the requirements within a business. So that even an employee without much of accounting background can be able to run with the system, manage it seamlessly within an organization. So that is more of the system. And also, if you want to switch a branch, you can always be able to switch it from here to a particular branch, and also be able to generate each branch particular report. So I'll be taking questions from the chat box. If you have a question or a concern, I'll be able to answer that. So if you have a query, or you can ask on the chat box, and then I'll be able to pick it from there. So I can see MRM asks about if it can be integrated with existing ERPs. That is, we are working on that, so that if you want to move from another system to this one, you can be able to manage that. So it's an update we are working upon, but you can still start using it as we finalize on that, so that you can maybe move your data from another existing software to this one. So on the payroll, as you have seen, we are finalizing it within this first quarter of this year. It's something it's already on the pipeline. It's something we are working on it. So you'll be able to, whenever we are done with it, I will be able to notify you. But you can also be able to start using the system. So it will be an added feature within this particular quarter. So it's something we are already working on it. Can it be used for schools? Yes, for schools can be used for, because already we have over 100 schools who are using the system effortlessly. So it's for the school, it's working perfectly. It's something we have gone actually to the schools and also made a demonstration to particular schools. incorporated the system into the schools, and they have been able to manage it seamlessly. We have over 100 schools which are using that, is from a primary school to secondary school to colleges. That is also, it's something which is already working for the schools. So there is another question by trying to guess all the questions. Just a minute. And how are we rolling out some multi-business feature soon, which will be on? Yes, for multiple business or record keeping, you can be able to do that. Yes, you can be able to manage record keeping for different clients within one system, so that you can be able, that is manageable within the system. On running it with a different, can I run it? Can it be used for different businesses being run under one company? Yes, you can be able to do so. And you can also be able to integrate with POS. FKKK, that is manageable on the system. So the software charges on a monthly basis, it has two packages. We have the gold package and also the standard package. So for a yearly plan, the gold package is 9,000. The standard package is 5,500, which you can be billed either yearly, semi-annually, quarterly, or on a monthly basis. So for a monthly basis, is for the standard is 500. For the gold package is 800 shillings. That is for that. I think I've answered that. So if you have any other question, you can also fill the form, and then we can be able to give you a call after the meeting, so that maybe we can expound more. And also for the system, we usually offer a 10-minute virtual demo, so that we can be able to show you how the system is run, how to input the different entries into the system, so that you can have a seamless accounting experience through our system, and also a seamless bookkeeping. So if you have any other concern or a query, you can fill in the form, and then also we'll be able to get back to you, and also plan a virtual demo, so that you can understand the system more better. For the consultancy guys who they manage the businesses bookkeeping, we can also be able to do you a demo, so that you can be able to see how you can be able to input client data on the system, so that the bookkeeping part becomes easier for you again. So I don't know if there is any other pending query which I have not answered. So, and also if maybe you have a concern, you can also give us a call to our customer care number. That is 011 6 333 000. 0116 333 000. That is the My Accurate Books customer care number. So you can always reach us 24 hours, 24 in a 24-hour system. We are always there for support. So in case you incur an hindrance, we'll be able to cover that. So can it be used offline? No, Joseph, the system, because it's a cloud-based system, we have and also we would want maybe if the proprietor of that particular company wants to be viewing the data on a live basis, and he has maybe certain employees on the shop and is not there, he can be able to see what is happening in the shop on a real-time basis. So that's why it has to be live. So we don't have an offline version, and also so that we can avoid data manipulation with the offline one. So we tried to make it more online to avoid that. If you feel I've not answered your query, you can type it again. Can it be I can see Wanda Shabalia asked about can it be used for service-based companies? Yes, it can be used for service-based companies and also for product-based companies. So you can be able to manage both types of businesses. So Wanda, you can just go to the website, create an account, and also we'll be able to reach back if you 10 minutes virtual demo of how the system works. And also on payment, we all usually give you a free, we add you another month so that you can be able to familiarize with the system. So anytime you create an account and make a payment, we usually give you 1 month extra on your payment so that you can be able to use the system effortlessly and also to be able to understand it better. And also we try to make it ourselves to be there so that in case of any query, we can be there to support so that you can be able to incorporate it to the business as fast as possible. And also, as Dr. Regina had talked about the wallet, so we have the MyAccurate wallet, which will act as your petty cash management of your business. So you can be able to make payments to your suppliers through that particular system. And also it will be able to act as your pool of collection for funds, maybe from your customer. So whenever a customer makes a payment through the wallet, it will be able to update on the system automatically with those particular payments from that particular client. So it's something which you can be able to manage your petty cash with. So the wallet, you can also be able to create an account for the wallet so that all the payments you can be able to track all the payments under one pool. If you want a statement of all the payments within a company, your company can also be able to generate that petty cash payments from for the payments within that particular period. So it's something which is a game changer, the wallet for the petty cash management. I don't know if there is a pending question, and also, so if you can fill in the form, we'll be able to give you a call, and also maybe plan a virtual demo so that we can take you through the system, and also you can just go to the website that is myaccuratebook.com, and you'll be able to create your account, and also we'll give you a call and also help you in the process of incorporating it into your business. So this is the landing page. So if you type myaccuratebook.com, this will be the landing page, and then we can be able to help you set up your account and also give and also plan virtual demos so that even train your particular employees on how to use the system. And also, as you have seen, the system is very easy to use, understandable, manageable, which is our key features on that particular system to make everything to be so seamless. And also we have the application on Play Store. So we have the web version, and also we have it on the mobile version. So if you go to Play Store, you can be able to type My Accurate Book app, and you'll be able to get the application. So the data synchronizes immediately from the web and also from the application. So all the data on the phone and the web will always be able to match. Then you can always get in touch to us, and also we have materials on the website where you can be able to watch a demo on how the system works, and also you can be able to schedule a demo. So when you go to the website, you can be able to access a demo account and also watch demos, and also browse our tutorials, and also you can be able to request a virtual demo and be able to book a free virtual demo, which takes around less than 15 minutes. So it's something which even if how busy you are, it's something you can create time within 15 minutes, get to understand the system, and incorporate it into a business and have good records. Because as for KRA currently, we are more on the records. It's because they have said the proof, it's you to prove all the particular entries. So it's something which will be able can be able to act as your support documents. So I can see there are no, I don't think there is any question I've not answered. So in case you have a query, can reach to us on 00116 333 000, and then we can be able to get to understand any challenges you may be having, any queries you may be having, and then we can be able to welcome you to the family of My Accurate Books accounting software, and you can be able to manage your business seamlessly. And thank you for the interactive section. And we hope to get back again next week so the drill continues, because information is not constant. It's something we learn every single day. So in case of a query, just fill in the form, and then we'll be able to get back. Thank you.